Over the past 2.5 years, I've been collecting data on my comic, so let's see how it's grown. Hi again, my name is Katie, and I'm a comic artist and illustrator. I've talked about how much money a comic can make on Webtoon Canvas, but now I want to break down how many views I got per month and compare it to the number of updates and subscribers. First of all, I have to mention this. Webtoons is not good at collecting and showing you analytics about your comics. What they give you is the number of global monthly views, the past 24 hours global views, and the average view per update. And all you can view is this month's and last month's data. So if you want to see your view count from 3 months ago, you can't. I really wish Webtoon would show more, but it's kind of disappointing how limited they are for how big the platform is. The same goes for how much data they give you for ad revenue. Every month they tell you how much money you've earned in the month, and nothing else. If you want to hear more about the money side of Webtoon Canvas, the video's in the description. But long story short, I didn't make much money. But I did find it interesting how many of you guys say how Webtoon was underpaying creators. And yeah, I can understand why. But I wanted to remain positive while making that video, because the reality is Webtoons won't give you a lot if you are a Canvas creator. So I'd rather spend my efforts focusing on other streams of income and use Webtoons as a way to market myself and grow my audience, which is what it's good for. As one of, if not the biggest comic platforms out right now, there is a big audience built into that site. So it does make sense to post your work there if you can. When I reached ad monetization on Sugar and Swords, I kept a spreadsheet of all my views. Now, there are months that I missed because I forgot, so my data isn't perfect. But what I did write down is still good to look at, so let's see what there is. I started posting Sugar and Swords back in June of 2021. I didn't start collecting data just yet, but I do know that in the first month I posted 4 episodes. In July of 2021, I posted 5 episodes, a new update once a week, and got over 300 subscribers. During the first few months, growth was slow, but that all changed once August came around. One night early in the month, I was just about to go to bed when my sister told me that my comic reached over 1,000 subscribers. Now at the time, none of my social media accounts have ever gotten over 1K, so I was pretty excited about it. I got a lot of comments, one of which said that my comic got featured in the staff picks. That meant someone from Webtoons handpicked my comic to get it featured, so I got really lucky. By the end of the month, Sugar and Swords reached over 4,000 subscribers. Honestly, the only reason I know of this is because Webtoons will send you an email congratulating you every time you get 1,000 more subscribers. In September of 2021, I was able to get over 7,000 subscribers and posted 4 episodes. Around this time, I was able to get ad revenue since this comic now had over 1,000 subs and over 40,000 monthly views. In October of 2021, I posted 5 episodes, but only got around 200 extra subscribers. So the boost from the feature had gone away. Right after that, around November of 2021, I somehow got featured again. I don't remember exactly where it was featured, but I have a screenshot of another small group of Canvas comics that was handpicked by the staff with their own short description of each comic. So now we are at 9,000 subscribers, and I finally started to keep track of the monthly data. So in November, I also got 53,611 global monthly views, with 4,171 average views per update. In December of 2021, I got 58,268 monthly views, but after that, growth was slower, but steady. In January and February of 2022, my monthly views were in the 30,000 range, with around 4,000 average views per update. In March, I got 65,229 monthly views, and 4,592 views per update. From April to June of 2022, my views were now around the 20,000 to 30,000 range, but I still maintain the 4,000 views per update. Back in June of 2022, I had surgery on my wrist, so updates were paused for a few weeks. July only had 1 new update, which did affect my views. I got around 10,260 monthly views, and 2,743 average views per update. So yeah, it's pretty obvious, but when you update less, you get less views. However, updates did resume back in August of 2022, and we came back strong. During this time, Sugar and Swords was featured in the top 30 fantasy series. So the monthly views of the month were 206,354 with 5,739 average views per update. And we are now at 16,000 subscribers, and updates are weekly again. After the feature in September of 2022, the views for the month were at 61,678, and the average views per update at 5,343. In October of 2022, now that things have calmed down from the feature again, we're at 31,273 monthly views, but now maintaining the average view per update in the 5,000 range. Around this time, the subscriber count had a steady growth, just a couple hundred new subs per month. I forgot to record November's data, but the views were probably around 40,000 since the updates were pretty regular at this time. In December, we got 58,581 monthly views and 5,443 views per update. At this time, I decided to stop updating my comic regularly. After over a year of regular updates, and with the main story arcs complete, I wanted to focus on other projects and just make these episodes when I have time. I didn't want to drop this comic completely because I still have some fun episode ideas in mind, so I try to maintain an update per month. I forgot to record the January 2023 data, but in February of 2023, I got 27,339 monthly views and 5,441 average views per update. We'll go a little quick here, but from March to August of 2023, I got around 30 to 80,000 views and had 4 to 5,000 average views per update. Even though the monthly views varied a lot during this time, the average views I got on each episode were pretty consistent. In September of 2023, the views were a lot higher than usual. We got 123,412 monthly views and 3,849 average views per update. This surprised me a lot because there were no updates for the month, so I don't know why the views were that good. Now in October of 2023, I must have gotten featured somewhere. I don't know why or how, but I got 389,117 monthly views and 8,808 average views per update. Now this is the highest my comic has ever been, and I still don't know why it spiked. Webtoons doesn't tell you if you got featured at all by the website, so unless you are constantly looking at the site or a reader kindly tells you in the comments, then you don't know. So who knows, but after this month we maintained a higher view rate. Also, the subscribers for Sugar and Swords are now at 27,000, jumping 6,000 more compared to the last month. And this was also the most subscribers I have gotten in a month. In November of 2023, there were no updates, but I still got 100,913 monthly views. In December, with one update, I got 200,349 monthly views and 9,580 average views per update. Now, January of 2024 is pretty different compared to the months around it. I didn't have any updates, and I got 22,054 monthly views. Now, I'm not surprised at all by these numbers. It was the beginning of the year, and whatever spike of viewers that came from October are now gone, so that's fine. In February of 2024, we had 2 updates and got 260,109 monthly views with 10,993 average views per update. In March 2024, we got 199,179 monthly views and 6,601 average views per update. The last piece of data I have is in April of 2024 with 208,594 monthly views and no new updates. So now that we have all the data laid out, what can we learn from it? Here are my thoughts. Honestly, it seems the best way to grow on Webtoons is to get featured by them, which is kinda sad because this isn't something you can control. But the best thing you can control to grow an audience is to post regularly. Looking at the data, during the months that I didn't get featured, I still maintained a steady growth by updating weekly. Of course, whenever I didn't update or had very few of them, the amount of monthly views would usually be lower, which again is to be expected. And once you do establish an audience, it's easy to maintain it. Even when I updated less frequently, I maintained a steady number of views per update. To me, it looks like there's a lot of people who will stop by for the update and then leave without subscribing. But there's also a good amount of readers who stay for every update. I feel like the average view per update reflects the amount of people who regularly read your comic, while the monthly views reflect the reach of your comic. And even if you take breaks like I did, you can still grow just fine. It will be at a slower rate, but still growth nonetheless. Looking at the subscriber count, it follows the same pattern as the viewer count. The more views you get, the more subs you get. Now keep in mind this number grows at a slower rate. With viewers, the reader doesn't have to do anything but view the comic, whereas to subscribe, you have to actively tap the button either at the end of each episode or go into the episode list and subscribe from there. Looking back, I've never had a month where a bunch of people would unsubscribe. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever unsubscribed from comics on Webtoons. When they stop posting, it usually just appears lower in my subscriber list, so out of sight, out of mind. Something I haven't mentioned until now is that I also post this comic over on Tapas, another comic website. I started posting it around June of 2023 and updated 3 times a week until it caught up with the Webtoons version. Luckily, on that site, they actually give me data for each month without it disappearing. So, taking a quick look over on that site, my average monthly views are around 3,000 to 4,000 views a month and around 300 or 400 views per update. Now, those are a lot lower than Webtoons. Honestly, I don't know much about how comics are featured on Tapas because I don't really read comics on that site. I guess this means a comic can do amazing on one platform and not so good on another. Maybe if I was more active on Tapas, it would change, but I don't have any plans to try, so oh well. Also, I just reached monetization on Tapas and I think I got like a couple cents? I think the payout is only $25, which is a lot lower than Webtoons payout, but it's gonna be a while before I get my money. Anyway, I hope going over all this data was interesting to you. I feel there are more points I could infer from the data, but my brain is pretty tired after listing all those numbers. Once my other comic Crystallize gets more data over the next year, it would be fun to compare the two. Or even see how updating one comic affects the views of another, because when you catch up on one series, Webtoons will show other comics that creator made. So in theory, when I post an update to one comic on Webtoons, the views of my other comic should go up as well. We'll see. If you post comics on Webtoons, I would highly recommend keeping track of this data yourself. It can be annoying at times to have to write it all down, but after a few years of collecting data, it can be extremely helpful when looking at how or why your comic can grow. I mentioned this at the start of the video, but if you're curious about how much money I made with this comic, I made a video breaking that down, so check it out if you're curious. That's all I have to say for now, so I hope you all have a great day.